Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's good to be back for, as promised, the second live in May. It is actually, it's great to be back again. I did, as I say, I said I would be back for another one in May, and at the time I didn't really have any plans for it. Things move on a bit, as we know, and thankfully I've got a good guest in tonight. They're all good guests, but just so I'll dip into the chat as usual quickly. No, I'll not, because you know what I always do, and I forgot to do it there. Yes, the chat. Hell's Wed was in early, too early, so she went and made herself a brew. Everybody seems to be being very artistic or making something tonight. Lee J. Brown was away to get his lunch ready for tomorrow. Lee J, I'll be doing the same later. Good to see you in, guys. Phil Ingham's in. Pete Head Frank, good to see you as usual. Greg's Whiskey Guide is in. Greg, good to see you, my friend. I know you've been having a lot of troubles with your connection still, and as most of us will know, that's been going on for Greg for a long, long time. So good to see you in. Frank, Pete Head, yes. Budget Drams, Lee, good to see you, my friend. It's all the usual faces, but that's a good thing. Multi-Mission Menno, good evening. Jeff Whiskey, how are you, Jeff? Scrolling. There we are. So there's a few in at the moment. Johnny H, Black Barrel Sippers Club. But I imagine there'll be a few more. Welcome back to Jim's Money Malt Samples. I will get to the samples as we go, but for now I'm going to bring in my guest. And I imagine most of you will know this person. I say person, not persons. We'll explain that in a minute. But I imagine most of you will know. So let's just get on with it and bring in from New Dram Drinker, Anthony. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Jim. It's a pleasure.
You're very welcome. And I say it's just yourself because Nicky is not well. And yeah. I think we would all agree, or we would all send our best wishes to Nicky and wish her a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
How are you keeping yourself?
Good, mate. Yeah, busy, but good. I prefer to be busy. So it's kind of where I like to sit, just kind of mulling over with different projects going on and just enjoying life. It's nice that everything's opening up again now, so we can all start to think about meeting up and doing just something different, isn't it? It seems weird, isn't it, how going out and meeting people's the different thing these days.
Well, funny, you and I were talking prior to going on, and it was something actually I wanted to say too, that we were talking about the technology that we're using, etc. And I wonder, and this is something we'll maybe get to later rather than dipping too much into it now. I wonder, will these things start to slip away a little once people start to go out again and start to? I just thought about it there now. These things might actually dissipate a wee bit. What do you think yourself?
I think I agree with you 100% because it's something that we're fully aware of. Obviously, we do a lot with regards to these live events. So ours are a little bit more behind closed doors with our members club than you do out in the open on YouTube. But it's something we're aware of because I think you have to be, don't you? Because we've got such a kind of a thing going with our Discord and our members club and stuff that it will have a little taper off, I would imagine, and you've got to be prepared for it so that it doesn't surprise you. And I think it's inevitable because we're going to start going out. Myself and Nicky will start going out, so we won't be doing them as often. And I'm sure the people who would have usually been watching them will be going out as well. And, you've just got to try and find that middle ground, haven't you, of kind of where what days probably work best. But maybe midweek ones like what you do, the Monday night ones when people have been at work, they're just chilling out at home. Maybe if you were doing them on a Saturday evening, you might start to struggle a little bit because that's, Friday, Saturday evenings might be when people start going out. So, we do ours on Sunday evenings, so we might not be too bad. But I think in the week ones will probably be the place to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose because I actually enjoyed it, and I moved them up an hour there to 8 tonight, and I'm actually enjoying that more because it gives me a chance to spend an hour with the wife before going to bed. But before we skip forward too much, give us a quick, if there's, because there maybe, I doubt it very much, but there might be somebody in here that doesn't know who New Dram Drinker are. Give us a quick bio, my friend.
Okay. Well, I'm one half of New Dram Drinker, and Nikki is my other half. She's ill, as Jim said. We are a YouTube channel and Instagram, Twitter, Discord, members clubs and things like that. And we just review whiskey on our journey, really. We started off as New Dram Drinkers. We didn't know anything about whiskey, really. And we've just been going for 2 years now. And we've got better. I think we've got better. We've learned kind of our way a little bit of what we like and what we don't like. Nikki is now kind of trying peat, which she never did before. We do cocktails, we do Q&As, we just do lots of different things. But yeah, that's basically what we do. You can find us pretty much anywhere under the New Dram Drinker moniker, so just search for us anywhere, really.
Yeah, and
find us.
Yeah, if anybody's looking a link, I have the link to your website and to your YouTube channel on this video in the description. Just before we go much further, there's been a few more come in. Frederick come in, David Owen come in. I did see James Morgan. He does detect the West Country accent. And I don't think that's another thing that I wanted to actually mention, that I think you and I have quite a bit in common, in that we're both maybe me, I'm not so much as I used to be, metalheads. We're both movie buffs, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we both have accents that we don't try to hide. And it's because I think you brought the subject up recently. I think I heard you saying something about it.
I did, yeah. Elocution lessons are in order.
Because the reason
I hate it, I can't stand my accent.
Well, you see, I'm exactly the same, but it's weird because probably none of you out there know this. The first video I made as the whiskey novice stayed on YouTube for a day, and I took it down again because I was trying to put an accent on. I was trying to cover up the fact that it was so broad, and I sounded like somewhere between Dennis Taylor and Liam Neeson, and my wife watched it, and it was she just went, no, just be yourself. And so I just,
is that video gone? Has it been deleted, or have you still
gone? Long gone. I don't even have it. I think I deleted it off from anything that I have. What is your favorite color?
Red. Can you tell?
Yes. Sorry, the other thing, my first sample I'm on here. Are you having a wee dram yourself tonight?
I am, my friend. I am. Yes, it's not one we've shared, but it's definitely a good one. It's one of my favourite ones this year, to be honest. Go
ahead. Lechic. Yeah, I remember you actually advertised whenever you put pictures of that on. I think at the time you bought it. I'm actually on. Yeah, I haven't had a bad Lechic yet. My first sample of the evening. I'm trying to take it easy because it's a school night, so they're all very low ABV tonight. And this one was from Tony Drams and Draws Kane, my friend from up in the north of Ireland here. And it's a Glenlivet 12-year-old. So we're starting with something. And believe it or not, every sample that I actually have on here is something I've never had. And the reason why I've never had Glenlivet 12 is because I've never had a great experience with Glenlivet. And I just didn't see the point in buying the 12-year-old.
Well, my second dram is that. So we're kind of somewhere in the same ballpark.
I must admit, actually, for 40%, this Glenlivet 12, it's a 2002 bottling. I don't know he's written that on it. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it's actually nosing very well, very sweet, which you would expect, but certainly noses over 40%. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. What can we talk about? Go ahead. Fire away. So it was the first birthday of the
certified originals.
Was it it was actually the certified originals first, but I thought it was going longer than a year.
No, yeah, mate, yeah. Everyone said that. Really? Seems. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Seems like
I think it's just become such a big thing. And
I just make a pest of myself. You see, I post that many things that it just seems like it's been around for years.
every day there's another new Dram Drinker page on Instagram.
It's how I started out, by being a pest. So I've just continued for 2 years, constantly just being a pest on all social media.
No, not at all. And you see, yet again, I said that to you myself, and I think that's why people are in tonight watching Lynn Oran's and Kevin Grant and Whiskey's in. You know, and these guys are in to hear your views, because you're one of those guys. You're a nice guy. I think that's and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass whenever I say that. I think, you and Nicky's, your videos you make, I think I told you that before. I find them very easy to watch. I find them very informative. And this is why the whole new Dram Drinker, I don't know whether there's anybody out there that still doesn't get. I am 100% on board with what you mean by new Dram Drinker and what the new Dram Drinker thing is, and why it'll always be a good thing, and why you can always carry the moniker new Dram Drinker, because like myself, every dram's new to you. So
that's the thing. I mean, I say that now when people say, can you class yourselves as new dram drinkers? I always go, well, there's always a new dram to drink. But when we created it, that wasn't the case. It was us that were the new dram drinkers. But there isn't there? When you think about it, we'll never try every dram there is out there. It's never going to happen. So there's always something new, even if it's a cocktail, if it's a dram. There's always something out there to drink.
No, definitely.
We started ales as well now. So Nick's been on the ale in
one
of our recent videos. So it's been new ale drinker. So
I actually watched that and thought to myself, he doesn't like ale. I liked him. What's that? He's been down in my ranking there a bit.
I just can't get on with it. I don't know what it is. There's just something that there's not enough going on. To my palate, all ale tastes the same. I tried all of the bottles that Nick had in that video, and they were all very reminiscent, all similar to me. I just get nothing from it really. I think I need to look a bit further afield and try some of the more random ones, maybe that are more to my palate.
Because it's only recently that I started on the brew dogs and stuff like that myself. I would, as much as they were there, I couldn't really drink a very hoppy ale because it just didn't agree with me.
Yeah.
But whatever way, they must have changed the way they're making them or something, or I'm buying different stuff because it doesn't seem to have the same effect on me anymore.
Right.
But it's just something aside from obviously tonight, I'm sort of setting myself in a regime now where I don't drink or try not to drink during the week. And it's, but the problem with that is then I go at it at the weekend. Like the thing possessed.
We're basically binge drinkers, aren't we? That's what we've created. Binge drinkers. That's what all YouTubers are.
Sorry, there you go. There's the one. Do you have a sweet tooth?
Very much so, yeah. I'm a very I love cake, sweets. So yeah, if it's sweet, it always stands a better chance with me. I think that's why the ales. I like cider because obviously that's sweet. You get the fruit you want. God, I sound like I just like sweet drinks.
No, I understand. Actually, I'm quite surprised then that you don't like the IPAs, because I find them all very fruity, very sweet. There's a Brewdog one there. Well, I suppose yet again, I was going to say there's a Brewdog one there. I like the Elvis juice, but it's grapefruit infused. I suppose whenever you think about that, then it's better, sort of bittersweet,
Yeah.
So yeah, just talked myself out of that one there. Prime Whiskey's in, Billy Boy Nines, and Whiskey Street Al. I missed you earlier on, buddy. Good to see you in. It's a good crowd in here as always. And Whiskey Shorts I've seen in earlier as well. You see, there's names coming in here that I don't know. So cool. There's a reason they're here. They're here for you. Yeah. Told you that. But
maybe if we can get an ale that's a bit tropical-ish, we'd be all right with that.
Totally. There's that word coming up again. I noticed it in the video too.
That's just one of our phrases that we have to get
Mm-hmm.
in literally every video.
But not, as I say, it's just one of those things. I mean, there's an awful lot of people out there who just not beer drinkers at all. I grew up
Yeah.
starting to go to bars, etc., and most of the guys, most of the people I was hanging out with, my friends and whatnot, just wouldn't drink beer, never touched it. They were all dark rum and coke or vodka and white or something like that. There, you know, it's.
I've tried many like different spirits, and I always end up going towards the sweeter side of whatever that spirit is. So if I like rum, I'd always have rum and black because that would sweeten it up. So I always find this is probably going to sound sacrilegious now, but if I have a Guinness, I'll have a Guinness and black because it just sweetens it up a bit. So I'm always pushing it to the sweeter side of whatever that drink is, if you know what I mean. That's why whiskey works. When you get the sherry casks and all the sweeter finishes, I just like that. I always tend to go down that side, that path of whatever drink I'm drinking at the time, you know.
It's funny because here's a question. I was actually out, not the other night. I mean, I was out with sort of with family, but there was only 4 of us there. It was family and a couple of friends at over a shed in my brother-in-law's backyard, and I had a bottle of Queen Margot with me, the 3-year-old, because it was just something. I wasn't going to take anything expensive over because I knew it was just going to be, and one of the guys that was there, and this was what I'm leading up to something here. But that's only 40%, and it's very, very easy going. Like there's no, I'm sure you've had it. I'm sure most of them in here's had it. And but I was sipping away at this, not an issue to me. And one of the other guys says, "Can I try a wee glass of that?" And I work away. I tear on, and all that would strip paint. It's this, it's that. And this is the question, and this goes out to yourself and to everybody else in here. I mean, it's just one of those things, is it not, that your tolerance for whiskey, just because we're all the same at one point, I believe, that you sip it and you go, no, that just burns. I couldn't drink that. It's horrible stuff. And then that thing starts where you get and I'm sure I'm not alone. Please, somebody tell me that I'm not alone. That at first there was a certain amount of bluffing going on, where you go, I suppose if you tell me I'm getting apple, I could see where you're getting apple there, you know. But really, you were going, no, it just tastes like whiskey, doesn't it?
And there's always that sense of influence when someone says it. You go, I can't get that now. You do get influenced by what people have said, don't you?
By the way, you would like Glenlivet 12 if you haven't had it. I'm sure you probably have, but
I think I have. Is that the green tube or the purple?
Somebody's going to have to tell me, because I'm not sure. As I say, this was just a sample, so
I've had the one, so I'm not too sure which one it was.
But I
think I had the 12.
It's sweet, and for 40%, it definitely plays better than 40%. It's probably one of the best Glenlivets I've had. Put it like that.
Right. Would you say that your search for stronger flavors outdid your search for a higher ABV, or which one do you think came first?
That's a good question, because I've actually, I think flavors, and not even stronger flavors. And it was somebody that's in here tonight, your friend and mine, Gregoire, and it was a Bushmills, an older Bushmills that he sent me, and it was 40%. And it was this thing that I used to think to myself, the flavor came with ABV, that you keep the ABV in there. Obviously, you take out your chill filtration, you don't add color, and all that flavor then comes back, and you get this big burst of flavor, But it was when Greg sent me, as I say, this old Bushmills, and it was very, very delicate and very, and he actually started to name a few notes that he was getting at it. I was like, yep, there's this, yeah, there's that. But it was just so light and so complex and so well blended that I started to think, no, well, this is actually, you don't need to go to the higher ABVs. You don't to find those stronger flavors. It's it's about finding them wherever they're at, you know.
Yeah.
What
Do
about
you ever look
yourself?
down on a? Do you look down on a 40% whiskey? Would you say?
Not
Would you?
anymore.
No, you
Not
did
anymore.
at some point.
I did at one point, and I'll still make a point of, it's weird. I can't help myself going, it's only 40%.
Yeah,
And you sort of, but then even at that, you know, you like if you talk to somebody who's not into whiskey and you say it's only 40%, they go, "Why, only," you know, and
yeah,
you know, so it's one of those things. I think a lot of us have set ourselves up, haven't we? You know, with this. Sorry, it was the green tube, the 12.
yeah. That's the one I know.
I think, you know, the further you go down, I think we all would agree that the further you go down this path, the further you go along your journey, the more you learn, the more you want to learn, and the more you know, with every whiskey you try, you find something different.
Yeah.
And it hasn't done me any harm starting to take breaks from it by any means, because I was getting bored off it nearly. You know, which is no good thing.
I think we're all kind of, because obviously our journey started with very much kind of off the shelf, you know, supermarket brands and things like that, which majority of the time you're probably going to hit the 40% mark, aren't you, on those? So looking at the higher ABVs seemed to be, it was that and peat. It was either we wanted to go into like we'd heard about this cask strength whiskies, and that was where that's another path we wanted to go. And then we'd heard about peated whiskies. That was another path we wanted to go. So that's kind of where Octomore came into it for me, because it hit both of those in one go.
Yeah.
So that seemed to be the pinnacle of where I needed to get to. And you miss out so many in the middle, don't you, that you should try to get there. But we made the mistake of, I went Octomore kind of within probably the first year. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's lovely, but I had to backtrack a little bit and reset and start building up and finding all the ones that are in the middle. But I'm glad that we did that, rather than just thinking that I had to go high peat, high ABV every time, because we'd have missed out on some cracking whiskies if I'd have done that.
I don't, you know, at the end of the day, but I think it would have been an eye opener for you, because the same, I probably did the same with Aberlour Abuna. I just liked Aberlour. I loved every one that I'd had prior to that. It was a case of, but it was probably, and imagine, yet again, I wasn't alone. I was looking at prices and just going, that I don't want to spend that for a whiskey yet. You know, I started out thinking a whiskey, and then I thought, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have a good bourbon, a good Irish, and a good Scotch, and that was where it all started, and it just bloody exploded overnight. You know, because and people like yourself are as guilty of this, and I hope I'm not. Well, I probably am guilty of other people doing the same thing now. You know, by influencing. You know, but it's such a. I just find it such an interesting subject, and this is why places like this, places like yours, places like, you know, all these things that are going on, because we're all like-minded people. We can all talk, because when I go to other people who aren't interested in whiskey and start, you know yourself, oh, here he goes.
I think it's like with our Discord. I think in maybe some people's eyes who are in our Discord think that they're in my and Nicky's Discord chat, but we see the opposite to that. We're in their chat because we soak up so much information from them that they put so much more into it than we do in regards to information. We might set the scene of, we're doing this chat, we're doing this, but their knowledge outweighs ours tenfold. So we're really kind of just dragging all the information from our members. So it's kind of it's a really nice organic kind of thing that's going on, where information's being shared and we're all learning little bits and pieces from each other. It's great. And I think that's what these things are good for, aren't they?
Yep. And this is why I'll always be happy to call myself the whiskey novice, because same thing. I'm always learning. And to me, I'll never stop learning. There's always something. And there's always something, and there's always somebody out there. And every time you think you've got on top of it, something else comes in, and it's the first. I've said it many times before. It's the first hobby, and because technically it is still just a hobby. You know, well, at the end of the day, it's not a profession. So, but it's the first hobby that has stuck, where the information goes in and generally stays there. Some of it ekes out again. You know, depends on how many I've had whenever it goes in. But you know, it's, and I love it. I love to be able to talk to like-minded people, and this is why. And I was never an awfully sociable person in that. I'm quite happy in my own company, you know. I'm not, but now that things are starting to move on, now that things are starting to open up again, I've already. I think have you not got something coming up? A whiskey. I think, did I read somewhere? Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to arrange in the Spirit Works in Lichfield. We're trying to get that going, and we've got the Midlands Whiskey Festival coming up in September, which a lot of our members are going to. So we've got more things will start coming online once we know that what kind we're working with and when we can do it and things like that. But we just can't wait to get out and meet people, to be honest. But I agree with what you're saying. I'm very much like you. I'm happy in my own space. I can which is strange when you think we do YouTube, which is putting ourselves. It's like the complete opposite to our kind of natural personalities, isn't it? But that's the way I am, you know. I just I don't know. It's a safer environment to do it over a camera sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, oh no, definitely. Because and the reason why I was asking you that we've now got. I didn't realize it was going ahead until Neil Laverty, who's yet again in the Northern Ireland group, says he messaged me, and this is what I love about it. He messaged me and says, "Jim, are you going to Whiskey Social? The tickets have been out." And I just thought to myself, "Was that still going ahead?" And it had, and I didn't even look. I just went on and booked 2 tickets, one for me and one for my wife, and he came back and he says, "I'm going to 6:30 on the Friday. When are you going?" And I looked at my ticket then because I hadn't even looked, and I went, "Oh, 6:30 on the Friday. Happy days. I'll see you there." You know? And I cannot wait. This is late September, and it's just, you know, can't wait.
It's just nice to have something to look forward to, isn't it? That's the thing. It is. It's just because we were quite lucky because we did the Bimber tour when the lockdown ended. Before the second one kicked in, we had a little window that we could do a tour, so we did the Bimber one. So we did get to meet a lot of our members there, not as many as we'd like to, but that kind of just got us through it a little bit, kind of thing. Just being able to at least get together with a few people just to connect and kind of fill the batteries up of meeting people, kind of thing. So, but we just can't wait to do it again on a bigger scale, really.
I know.
Just elevate it.
Even just to shake hands with these people, you know, just to be able to it sounds sad, maybe it sounds a bit silly, but to be able to physically press the flesh. Because I was supposed to go to the Lundberg Festival in Germany. That was sort of planned and geared up, and it all fell through, you know, and it'll happen again. It will happen, but no, I just can't. I can't wait. The bars are starting to open up again, and there's enough. I've made friends virtually with enough people in the whiskey world in Northern Ireland that I did not know existed to be able to go, right, guys, up the pub, come on, and we'll have a few just to say hello, you know, and this, yet again, it's not. I'll go out of my way. Bud Jenkins contacted me a couple of nights ago to say that he was trying to get over here, hoping to get over here later in the year. And he says, if you're free. And I was like, if I'm free? I'll move the bloody heavens and earth to get a drink with you. You know, let me know when you're coming. I'll book the week off work. and this is the thing, you know, and I think we're all the same. We're all like-minded. It's just, we've made so many friends in here that we've never physically met. You know, and just to actually meet these people and say hello and have a drink with them. And I mean, and like I'm including you in that, you know, that I know you were talking about coming over here. We've friends over there that we should be, you know, and it'll happen.
Did you ever think that you would have the friendships that you've got now when you started YouTube? Is this is this completely kind of out of your realm of thinking when you
Oh,
this?
I mean, people don't understand me whenever I talk about friends, and when I'm talking about these friends, I'm talking about you lot, everybody on here, and they're going, where'd you meet them? Whatever. I've never met them. You know, but they're, well, how are they your friend? You don't understand. You know, I just couldn't explain it, you know, and it's like, I don't know.
It's having a connection through a thing, isn't it? And that thing is whiskey. And it's when you've got such a focused similarity in what you like, it's easy to make friends, isn't it? It really is. It's not hard at all because it's so easy to talk about, isn't it? It's not a hard subject. You know, we could, you know, wax lyrical for hours about it, couldn't we? You know, and it only gets better when you meet people in the flesh and you can actually cheers and, you know, knock glasses together and have a drink together. You know, it can only get better.
The thing is too, it's, I think the fact that we're for one thing, we're all like-minded, but I don't think it's just that we're like-minded with whiskey. You know, anybody that I've spoken to has just been so easy to get on with, anybody in the whiskey world. And it's something that I'm sort of embarrassed about again, that when I say about anybody that I'm speaking to, I'm talking about all over the world. And I'm sure, I know for a fact you're the same. And it's the thing that I always get embarrassed about is everybody's English is so much better than my version of their language, you know. And but I've no fear. What I like about it is I've no fear of anybody in the whiskey world. I'll talk to anybody. As in, you know, as I say, I've never really been a terribly social person. But all I want to do, you know, I'll just wear my heart happily on my sleeve when it comes to talking to anybody in here.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody's just so easy to get on with, and there's booze involved, so that helps.
Do you still get nervous doing live chats and things when you're having people on that you haven't maybe not talked to before?
You see, maybe ones that, you know, because like the thing is, I tend to go into an awful lot of them going, I don't know how this is going to go. I really don't know. And I'm sure you get the same, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
But the thing was tonight, no, it never didn't concern me in the slightest. It was a case of, oh no, it's only Anthony. But I meant that in the nicest possible way, you know.
When we used to start doing ours, I think if we'd got a chat going at 8 o'clock, I'd be set up at 5, and Nick would be going, "Why did you set up so early?" I said, "I just want to make sure everything's set up." And then I'd be pacing through the house and looking at my notes about the questions I'm going to ask and just getting it in my head how it's going to be. And it was nice tonight because I was literally, you know, half hour before, just kind of got my drinks ready and set the light and the camera up and everything. And it's just job done. Like you say, it's just Jim. It's just having a chat with a friend called Jim.
That's what I said to you earlier on about just, just shitting the shit, really. And I mean, the last time I think I did that, I did it with Whiskey Straight Al, who's in here. And it was, as somebody described it later, it was just like sitting down the pub, listening to the 2 hour farts in the corner. You know? And it was, but I like that. That's, to me, that's what it is, isn't it, really?
Basically, yeah. I mean, if you can't just sit down and have a good chinwag about whiskey and what, you know, things that are going on, then what can you do, really, you know?
Yeah.
I love doing this kind of thing because it's, this to me is nice because I'm not having to think about hosting and things like that. So it's just nice to be able to chill out, sit back and enjoy the chat.
You see, you know, as well as I do, as well as those in here do, it's very difficult to do this. I don't know, and his name comes up all the time, Roy Aquafeed. I don't know how Roy does this every week. With a guest and keeps it fresh. I just don't know how. I can't. I've actually really racked my brain trying to think of how can I do this? How could I keep this going? And I just can't. I could not physically keep it going on a weekly basis and keep it fresh. So I just didn't try. You know, it was the way I took to. Sorry, I've moved on to my second sample just before we move on.
Yeah, I did as well.
I've seen that. Seen the kid in here coming. It's this was from Graham Whiskey Works Horner, most people will know them in here yet again, probably Glendalough. It's the Glendalough triple barrel. It's the Friend at Hand version, bottled at 42%, batch 7, Madeira cask 5. Now, I've had a couple of Glendaloghs. I actually have one in my cabinet, and it's been there for about 3 years, and I wasn't a massive fan, but it was the 7-year-old porter cask, and it was too floral or something. It was like what does he call them? The wee purple sweets, Parma violets. Parma violets. Yeah. And it really, really, that's to me was all that stood out on it. So I just couldn't take to it. It's still sitting in my cabinet. It must be there about 3 years. And that's the thing. There's a question for you. How old is the oldest bottle in your cabinet? As in, not the age of the whiskey. How long it's sat there and you just haven't drank it?
Ooh. That's going to have to be the Bimber first edition, I'd have thought. Because remember, we've only been buying whiskey for 2 years, so it's kind of that's the only bottle that isn't open on the shelf.
Oh, so it's still unopened, like.
So we've tried it because we had some samples. So I think we went to the launch of it, and then now we're giving you samples, and I think I grabbed 3 or 4 different samples, and we've tried those over the time. But the main bottle is just on the shelf, just kind of sitting there, just. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm not like a flipper or anything like that.
Oh, no.
I'm not into like buying the whiskies to then think about selling them, but it's one of those ones that I've tried it and I don't feel the need to open it, but I don't really know why I haven't, or what I'm going to do with it, or if there's any reason really as to why I'm doing it. I don't know. It's because I haven't got the knowledge enough to really be clued up enough to know whether I shouldn't open it or not. Yeah. I just
know what you mean. So I think I know what Pete Head's angling at there. That's the oldest bottle on the shelf. But what I mean, because that's what I sort of meant too, was I have bottles, as I say there, that were opened and just never really took to them. And I wouldn't be one of those drinkers that would just drink it for the sake of drinking it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to drink it. It'll just sit there. And I wouldn't even, I've actually got whiskies that I wouldn't even give to guests. I wouldn't even give it to people I don't like. It's just, I've got one whiskey in particular that's fucking awful. And I'm not going to name it because it's from here. It's from Northern Ireland. I'm not going to actually name it because at some point it might get named and shamed. But yet again, I'll probably have had a few in me. But I've had a few that have sat in the cabinet. I've had actually I reviewed one the other week, and there's those in here that'll know about the Grant's Triplewood that sat on my shelf unopened for yet again about 3 years, because it was a case of I don't even know why I bought that. I'm gonna drink it.
You see, that's where we're lucky, because we do enjoy cocktails. So if I get a whiskey that we don't necessarily like, it will just go into the cocktail kind of cabinet, and we'll just make old fashions with it, and we'll make whiskey sours and things like that. So there's very little on our bar, to be honest, that's not open, or whether we like it or not, because like you say, we'll just use it for a cocktail. Most of the bottles on our bar will get opened and used for that.
You see, whenever we're allowed to visit other people's countries again, I'm coming to England, and I'm going to first of all visit Helen and Andy with us for a curry,
and
then I'm coming, then I'm coming round to yours for a cocktail.
You're more than welcome anytime you want, man. The thing is, every time that we arrange something, it's like, I think the Midlands Whiskey Festival in September, it's like we arrange that, and I'm like, just come round the house, we'll do your breakfast, and then like you see like a couple of people have got tickets, and it's like 6 people have got tickets, and it's like 10 people have got tickets. You're thinking, I need to buy more bacon. I need to get more chairs. I need to get the emergency chairs out of the garage, and get a lot more bacon and sausage, because it kind of, once everyone started to hear about it, it just kind of, I think more and more people were buying tickets. And I mean, they are more than welcome to come here for breakfast if you're in the chat now. But I mean, I'd love it, to be honest. I would genuinely love having a big congregation out, because we were going to do it for the Somerton Festival last year, and we were going to have it here and then do a big screen with the festival on it, so that we could all watch the festival together. But obviously, the lockdown kicked back in again and kind of put an end to it. But I'd love to do something like that again in the future. You know, just maybe the Somerton Virtual Festival or another virtual festival. Hopefully, we're all just there doing them and virtual. Virtual's almost becoming the word that I don't want to hear anymore. Right?
Yeah,
virtual.
I know.
It's like,
that's this year. I've just bypassed them this year. And just said, because the Belfast Whiskey Week and all was coming up again. Said no, I'm not even. I don't read anything about it. I don't touch on anything about it because I just don't want anything to do with it this year. And that I want to get back to reality now. I've had enough, you know. And it's not that I don't like the fact of these first. I mean, at the end of the day, the time, effort, and work and everything that goes into it. But I just would rather not and just leave it and wait another couple of months and we'll see. Sorry, there was a few comments come in there and I just wanted to catch up on them before we missed them. Richard Agnew, I always like to talk about what's going on in Northern Ireland here. Quiet Man and Derry, Richard, yet again, you see, I've said it before, I just don't like what Irish distilleries... I don't like what Irish distilleries do. I think we're too early for Irish distilleries at the minute. They're all too young and they're all still... Quiet Man's a prime example of that, Richard, that it's Bushmills. So it's just Bushmills whiskey, bottled by somebody else. And no, I haven't really had any good stuff from it. I thought I seen something else, but if I did, we'll get back to it. It sounds like a September detour for you. There you go. Frank's coming. Because I'm actually that's the thing. I'm getting to Scotland too at the end of July, and it's the first. It's the first opportunity. Now, I say everything's booked, so you know we'll see. But it's the first opportunity I've had. We had it booked for last July, and I'll be doing my next. I don't want to say too much about it because I want to do my next live on it, on something to do with it. But I've already booked the tour for Tomatin Distillery. But yet again, part of the problem is most of the distilleries aren't open. So it's just going to be one of those things, you know, that we'll just have to hang fire and see what happens. On the subject, this Glendalough, which yet again would have been, this is probably somebody else's brew. It's all right. Actually, it's quite nice. It's a bit. I heard the term, and like you're tropicalish. It's a bit farmyardy. I've heard that one a time or two.
That's on a t-shirt somewhere.
It is a bit farmyardy. What I mean, you were talking about earlier on about the peat. I think you're a bit like myself. You know, the peat didn't really offend you and such. You know, when I say offend, as in your palate sort of took to it nearly straight away.
I think my biggest, I think it's just a personality quirk of mine, is that if I get into anything, I'll start off obviously at the beginning, but I want to accelerate to the top end of it as quick as I can. I've done it with everything that I do. It's like, like I used to ride bikes and I started off on my 125 and I just wanted to get the fastest bike I could as quick as I could. It's just the way I am. I just want to kind of experience everything that hobby's got in a shortest amount of time possible. And I think for some reason, peat became that kind of the pinnacle of it, like I said before. Whether I enjoyed it as much at the start as I kind of, like you were saying, you kind of pretend that you do. It was almost like I felt like I should enjoy peat because it's what everyone who knows a lot about whiskey drinks. It's completely wrong, but that for some reason is what I'd watched on YouTube at that point, the videos, and it seemed to be the kind of, it's where you got to when you were a confident whiskey drinker, was drinking the heavily peated, the parts per million, the highest you can get in that. So, and it was just literally the YouTube videos that YouTube was telling me to watch, because it obviously suggests you videos, doesn't it? And I just got the wrong end of the stick. I just thought, I think I went from Glenmorangie 10 straight. I think it was Ardbeg 10, literally within the next two bottles, and nothing in between. I think I might have done Highland Park in between.
But I remember having the hard Big Ten and popping the cork, smelling it, and going, "Oh my God, what's that?" And because it was over Christmas, and then all the family would come over, and I've said it before, I'd pop the cork, whack it under someone's nose, and go, "Have a sniff of that," and it was almost become like the joke whiskey. It was like, and they'd go, "How can you even drink that?" And I go, "I don't." It was just like I'd got a bottle of it on the shelf. It was like I've made it because I've got a bottle, but it was almost a novelty whiskey until probably another few months down the road, where I'd tell you what. Talking of that, it brought me back to a video I watched of yours today, actually, where you likened whiskey to music. And it was very similar to that, in that I say that whiskey to me is like music, but I had Metallica Ride the Lightning when that first came out back in the day. Nicola bought it for me, an album, and I listened to it, and I couldn't listen to it. It was just too much. But I listened to it, tried listening to a song here and there over a long period of time, and eventually became one of my favourite albums. It just took time to soak into me. And that is very much similar to what Pete was in the whiskey. It just had to soak into kind of my being and the way I thought about whiskey. And it just took longer. But once it was in my head, I've been in love with it ever since. It just took a little time just to kind of slowly work up to it. And I liken it very much to music in that way, whiskey. That's why I think metal and whiskey are very kind of linked in a way. Because there are a lot of people, aren't they, who like whiskey, who do like metal.
I know.
It's a strange kind of, for some reason, it just works, doesn't it? I don't know why. It just goes hand in hand.
It's either metal or country. You know, it's just one of those things. Or good, like proper good American country. You know, and it just seems to be something about it. And like, I mean, even I started with Jack Daniels back in the day. Like, I mean,
many did.
Over 30 years ago now. You know, and which is kind of scary. But I mean, it was. I don't know. I can't even remember why. And I just
Slash
and
with his bottle of Jack Daniels.
And it just took it's like everyone else, as you say, it takes that first time is like, no, how does people drink this? You know, and it's like, and then it was, but then it just after a while, and then it's, you know, and it's not, to me, it's not a badge that you wear with honor going, I can drink whiskey, you know, get me. It's just something, and I think you get beyond that, and it's not a snobbery. I've said it before, and I stick by it. It's not a snobbery. It's not going around going, you know, as I say, I know a wee bit about whiskey, and for the most part, for most of us, probably in the scheme of things, it is just a wee bit, you know. But it just it's there's an elegance or something about it that I think that, you know, that I can sit down, I can buy a new bottle of whiskey and sit down and just enjoy a dram of it and literally sit over it for an hour and a half and just go, no, that's just getting, it's getting better, or it's getting worse, or I'll add a bit of water and see what it does now. And I know there's people, whenever I tell people that, they just go, you what? You know, what the hell's wrong with you? You know, and it's like, no, but, you know, it's just my thing. It's just what I do.
But I think that comes down to, I think there's a couple of different people, how they look at it in my head. You've got the people who drink whiskey at the end of the night in a shot. That's what they see it as. It's like the stag do, and what should we have at the end of the night? We'll have a round of whiskies and we'll just knock them back and it'll, you know, get us shit-faced. Or you've got the people who see it as in like the businessmen in the old films, where they'd always have a decanter of whiskey on them, and they'd be drinking it in the day, then driving home. And it's that very kind of, that relaxed, kind of nice, sophisticated drink. And I think it depends where you're coming at it from, because I've done both, to be honest, but I see it as more the businessman kind of that look of a sophisticated drink, and you just kind of sit back in your nice armchair and you just enjoy the drink, and just kind of, you don't always analyse it either, do you? I think sometimes you get into the routine of analysing every whiskey that you have every time you have it, which we've had to try and stop. Just enjoying the moment as well is what you've got to do. Just enjoy the whiskey you're drinking.
It's funny you say that, because I still, the only whiskey I drink that's not in a Glencairn is bourbon. I still like bourbon in a rocks glass. And I know you're not a massive bourbon fan, like it's not really your thing, but I still do like one every now and again. It's sort of I've probably got about a dozen in my cabinet, and I'll. But the sad thing about it is I'll generally tend to pick the same one every time. You know, I could have 40 of them, and I'll pick one of them. And I could be shot easily for saying this among certain people, but that one will taste like the rest of the other 39 anyway. So it doesn't. But I still pour it in a rocks glass, and just what you're saying, you know, the first person I always think of whenever I pour it, J.R. Ewing. Still see him standing with that bourbon in a rocks glass, and I used to look at that thinking to myself, because I could never even drink. I couldn't, or would never have thought of just pouring a whiskey and drinking a whiskey and so on. No. Couldn't do it. It was never in my remit at all. It was a case of no, it's just a spirit. But sure, you know, you need a beer. A whiskey's a chaser, or whichever way around you want to do it. It was the sort of way I looked at it. But now, no, totally different. Yeah. The beer can sit in the fridge. You know, I'll sit for an hour and a half over a wee dram, and then go to bed, or you know, or have 2 or 3 beer and no whiskey. You know, and as I say, it's not I don't know. I think most of us are probably the same, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it goes back to the music thing as well. We'll sit in the chair, we'll pick a whiskey, and for no reason at all, we'll end up putting some music on the stereo, and it will be a music that the whiskey's informed us to put on. So sometimes it's a heavy, you know, really heavy kind of, you know, thrash song because it's a bit of a dirty whiskey, and it just gives us that feeling. Sometimes we might have one and we put some jazz on, and we just sit back and enjoy some kind of mellow kind of music. And I think it's just such a nice drink to kind of elevate the mood you're in. I think that's one of the reasons why we love it. We can look at the bar, and there's a range of moods on the bar. However we're feeling. If we're feeling a bit rough or a bit dirty, we'll go for something peaty. If we're feeling relaxed, we'll go for something a bit like nice and sweet. You know, we'll go for something a bit smoother. But it's a mood enhancer.
It's funny you saying about moods, because, and yet again, I said earlier on about laying my heart in my sleeve. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. I've lost friends over whiskey in the past. Whiskey used to make me, and my friends used to tell me that whiskey just made me a bad-tempered bastard. Like, you know, you're just, you're. And I was talking at that, whenever I was having a drink with these guys the other night, that subject came up because one of the guys said that he couldn't drink. It was Bacardi. He said that he couldn't drink Bacardi. Okay. That if he went into the bar and somebody poured him, or if he started drinking Bacardi, the bar emptied because they knew that he would just ended up wrecking the joint. Wow. You know, so. I was never a, you know, I would always say I'm a lover, not a fighter. I was never a bad temper to the point where, and I actually put it down to the fact that it didn't make me a bad tempered person. It made me a truthful person. And these people that, you know, used to say that, oh, you're just, I was a case of, no, what I've done is I've picked the points about you that I don't like, and the whiskey's in, and I'm now telling you.
Yeah. The whiskey dissolved your filter, basically, didn't it? Your bullshit filter.
And I lost friends over the head of it, but the way I looked at it was they could never have been that great a friend if they didn't want to hear what I actually thought about them.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If I only want to hear the positives, then maybe they're not the best friends. But yeah, I mean, our journey, I mean, you were talking about Jack Daniels, goes back all the way to like my dad, because he used to drink, he only ever really drank cocktails, to be honest, but he used to do a drink that was Jack Daniels, ginger ale, and orange cordial. And that's what introduced us to, well, me to Jack Daniels and a whiskey drink. I think that's where the cocktails probably come from, to be honest. I introduced Nicola to that drink, and we still make it to this day. We call it an heirloom now because my dad passed it down to us, kind of thing. But that's what got us into whiskey at the start. But that's the only way I ever knew you could drink whiskey, really. It was in a cocktail or in shorts at the end of the night. That was it. There was no kind of other way.
It's funny because, yet again, it's only through getting to like it's only through getting into whiskey that I can drink whiskey cocktails, because I never liked whiskey cocktails. I was never really one for drinking one with a mixer at all. But now, when the mood fits, I love nothing more than just a bourbon and Coke.
Yep.
You know, and a load of ice in it.
Yeah.
Even just something simple like that. Yes, it's in that coming up.
Yeah, it's good, this one, mate. I'll have to get you a sample over.
Happy days. I've just actually moved on to a second from Tony Kane, and it's the Glenfiddich Fire and Cane. I actually seen somebody earlier on mentioning the Glenfiddich IPA, which it had, because there was the 3 come out at that point. There was the 20 or XX, and the Fire and Cane and the IPA, I think, that come out at the same time.
Yeah,
and I've never had. I've had these samples for months. Tony landed at my door in the middle of lockdown, the first lockdown, and it was just, and I had never met the guy. I only spoke online, and this guy just showed up at my door with a mask and a pair of gloves on and reached me a box, and it was like, if that happened, I'd said this before, if that happened in this country 10 years ago, you shit yourself and ran, like, you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, but I got a funny. Go on, carry on.
It was just the case that I just looked at him, and he went, Jim, and I went, yes, and he just went, Tony. Oh, Tony, how are you? You know, it was just a friendship made up like that straight away.
I got a funny story when we first started. We went, again, going back to when we went to the Bimber launch for the first, we went with Vin, and I remember Luna, Aaron had been in touch, and she was like, I want to send you some samples, so can you send me your address? I'll send you some samples and some cake or something. And I remember talking to Vin, going, "There's this woman's contacting me, and she wants to send like some whiskey through the post and some cake." And I was like, "What do I do? Do I give her my address? You know, is it safe?" And he was like, "Who is it?" I went, "Oh, it's Luna, Aaron." And he went, "Oh, it's Luna. She sends everybody stuff." And I was like, "So is this something that we do? You know, do we all send samples and stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's fine. Just, you know, give her your address, and you know, she'll send you some lovely stuff." And I was like, that was the first. I think she might have been the first person that ever sent us samples, to be honest. And then it's literally, geez, that's just the way of the world now, isn't it? Sending samples to each other.
But it's weird. I feel like as if there's a privilege almost in receiving samples from. And I don't want to start naming names because they're all in here tonight. I don't want to, you know, but there is a real, it's like when you receive some from Lenarm, and you receive some from Menno, and you receive some from, it's just like, these are the big names that everybody knows, you know, and they're sending me samples. I was like, shit, I've made it. People know me.
But do you ever tell people that you get sent samples and they go, so you're drinking whiskey from people that you don't know, or, you know, they're just open bottles? Because people don't understand it at all, how you can trust that what's in these bottles or what they're saying. You know, it's
what gets me
hard to explain, isn't it?
Well, it's the rarity sometimes that, you know, like Stuart Whiskey Wims has sent me Daft Mill samples, you know, and it's like, shit, man, you just can't buy that stuff and just dish it out. But it's, yet again, it's just one of those things that's what we do, you know, and it's I love it. You and I were talking about it prior to going out here, you know, and it's just something that, and it's nothing, it's never anything that you want anything in return for. It's just a case of, here, you know, I want you to, as I said to you earlier, I just want to know your opinion on this. That's all. You know,
and it's literally, it's just generosity, isn't it? I think that's one of the biggest things that we've kind of got from it. The fact that the community and the generosity within it is just second to none. I've been part of a lot of different communities, still am, but this is the most generous and friendly community that I've been a part of by far. None have come close, to be honest. When you consider we're only 2 years in, I mean, you're about the same, aren't you, Jim? You're a couple of years
roughly,
in now. You'd never think that you'd got the amount of new friends and things that you have through it, would you? We never thought we would. We didn't even realise it was a thing.
As I say, what gets me is the people. Northern Ireland's a small place, And just sorry, I seen Neil Laverty coming in there, and this is what put it into my head. Neil, we were talking about you earlier on, by the way. You can you're going to have to watch the replay now, but it was all good. I didn't realize, and it's not even that I didn't realize. I think it even took me to start doing the reviews and stuff before people. And I'm not saying that it's just me, because I know there was, like Phil from Causeway Reviews, etc. That there's a pinpoint then that people can string out from and say, well, and then I started to get all these names coming in, and all these people started to get to know each other, and maybe they knew each other anyway. And I was doing the same thing where I was getting to find somebody and they were passing me on. And all of a sudden you discover that there's not only is there a crowd of people that are like-minded, but there's two crowds of people that are like-minded, and they don't necessarily, it's like a Venn diagram. They don't necessarily blend over, but they do and there's three people in both groups and it all meets up. But, and it's like, I did not know this happened here.
Yeah, it's like when we get new members into our Discord, I always kind of ask them if they're new to Discord, because it can be quite a daunting thing when you first jump in. If you don't know what you're expecting, it can be quite a busy thing. A lot of them always say, yeah, I'm in the Somerton Discord, or I'm in this Discord, that Discord. And you just realise just how big. It's very easy to think that your group is the only group, isn't it? Because it's kind of, that's your main focus, isn't it? So then you start to realise that the branches just go out for miles, really. There's so many different groups that everybody's in, and I have trouble keeping track of one. Some people I know are in like 3, 4, 5, maybe more. But fair play to them, because I couldn't do it. But it just goes on forever, doesn't it? The branches are just immense. Different groups and different clubs.
It's brilliant, because it's yet again, it's the fact that everybody can cross over. There's nobody's left out. And everybody's always, and I love the fact that whenever I came along, was new to it, I was made feel very welcome. And it just, this is the way then I like to think that everybody else gets treated, that come along. And the thing is too, that there's yet again, I have to sort of put this right. I would say there's no idols in it. And I do sort of, I still look at people like Ralphie and Roy, etc., and all, and go, like, you guys are sort of pinnacle of what we're doing, the YouTubing. That's the sort of thing. But with regards to drinking whiskey, etc., there's nobody that stands up there and goes, look, I know more than you do. It's everybody's on the same pathway. Everybody's got their own views on it. Everybody's got their own, and nobody's going to question that.
No.
And it's just, it's back to this thing. I think just everybody just gets on, and hitting on something that was said earlier on, talking about the accents, doesn't seem to matter. People understand enough of what they want. It's not.
Yeah. But I'd say the one thing I disagree with you on, to a certain extent, is I think there are idols, because I idolise all of you that do this, because I look up to every single one of you that is doing it, and I watch you, and I see things that you do, and I think, that's brilliant. I'd love to do that. I wish I could do that. I wish I had the knowledge to do that. So I literally idolise. I idolise you. I idolise Roy, Ralphie, Vin, or Stuart. Neil, Toby, everybody. I just, because I think we've all got our place and we all own our place, and I think we're all doing a great job. To be honest, I think I idolise you all. That's basically where I come from. If I learn from you all, I watch your videos and kind of take bits and kind of just amalgamate them into new Dram Drinker if I can. And I genuinely appreciate everything that everybody's doing. Whether it might not necessarily be a whiskey channel. Sometimes I look at car channels or gaming channels and pick different bits and pieces that I like, and they're just, I idolise every single one of you. Really, you're all. Well,
I appreciate that, but that's the thing. We're always going to where we will always be beat. You can't get kids into whiskey. This is why I did say that. I said, it was a nephew of mine said it to me at one point. He says it's a damn shame you can't get kids into whiskey because that's where the money is in YouTube. That's where they're picking up. And that was whenever I come up with the Uncle Jim's teething whiskey, but it just never.
That is one of the biggest issues, isn't it? I think you need to start bringing other elements into the channel which might not fit.
I actually made an intro one time. I used my son. I say used. I used the word used. You know, but I got him a fake beard and a hat. And
I remember that,
yeah.
I remember, yeah.
But there was only ever a photograph because I couldn't use the intro. As soon as I actually put it out, and I put it out to my patrons at the time, and it was Whiskey Jason in Germany. Come back and he said, something like, with the greatest respect, I don't think children should be involved in whiskey in any way, shape, or form. And it was like, you know, he's 100% right, and I just didn't think about that, like, you know, because. This is the thing, you know, you have to, this is something that we don't, I suppose, sometimes think of where the boundaries are.
Yeah.
And you sort of, I don't know, every now and again, I suppose you making videos, me making videos, you have to check yourself, don't you? You know, and go, oh, well, hold on here. Maybe, you know, who can, and because people are just lining up to be offended this day and age, you know, and it's,
it doesn't.
That's another subject altogether.
We've been quite lucky in that. I think, like I say, we've used our son in a couple, but he's of age, so it's not too bad. But I think it's always. I think you can strive to look for the different too often, can't you? It's like I need to do something different. I know that's what I struggle with. It's always trying to find the different angle to come at it from. I mean, don't get, you know, it's, you know, we want to get the views, don't we, on our videos, you know, complete transparency here. You want to get the views, you want to get the subscribers to make you feel that what you're doing is reaching an audience. And sometimes that can make you do videos that maybe are reaching a little bit further than what you should be to kind of entertain people. And we're guilty of that. We're still doing that now, you know. We're still trying all different things to try and bring people in. But you just hope that something sticks. But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to being regular with your videos, keeping your content good, keeping it fun, and just being yourselves. But I think there's nothing wrong with trying to find other elements to bring in to make it fun. But like you say, maybe bringing your kids into it might maybe not have been the way to go. But yeah. Your call.
No, well, that's the thing. I mean, as I said, I didn't. To say I wasn't offended is not the right word. To say I wasn't upset because I spent a bit of time making the intro and I just never didn't really think it through. But I think Jason was right, you know, and it's better to be safe than sorry, really, isn't it? You know, and just, you know, and it's just. One of those things. I'm not, you know, as I say, I wasn't upset by it, but I know what you mean, and this is why I sort of felt, and I've told you this before, that I sort of felt like as if I made a bit of a rod from my back with the intros and all, because it was a case of I just can't keep this going, and you know, it didn't keep going, and you and I have discussed this before. You're taking making videos, my taking making videos. Meet somewhere, but they're different, you know, as well, but different in a good way. Greg's way of making videos, Al's way of making videos, you know, we all do it in our own way, and it's the good thing is, and everybody has said this, that there's a place for us all, you know. So it's one of those things that I would like to think. I sort of think of us almost as the second generation. The Ralphies and Roys were there, and the Scotch for dummies, the Scotch test dummies, all the American ones. We're either second generation or third generation, actually, because now I'm thinking about it and thinking that the whiskey friend Alan, whiskey neighbor, all those guys came around the same time as well. Greg was probably in around the same time, and we were maybe actually 2.5 generations down. Maybe we'll say
2.5.
but I think now that we've found a slot that we've wedged ourselves into as such, and it's and it's weird because I find it, and yet again, I think we've had this discussion before about the ones that have came and went, and you forget about them. You sort of think, damn, what happened? Where did they go? It's I often think about. I still running. I was running about with my Spirits People shirt on the other day, going, I hope Johnny's all right. I just never, things like that. And it's, but here's hoping that it'll continue, and these people will come along and review whiskies, and if for no other reason than I want to hear other people's opinions on certain whiskies.
Yeah, I love seeing the new channels come along. I must admit, it's nice to. I think it's nice when you see a new channel come along and you can maybe see a little bit of your channel in theirs. So you maybe feel like you've slightly influenced their style slightly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is nice that you've maybe encouraged someone to do something that they wouldn't have necessarily done 12 months prior, and then they've seen a few of your videos and seen how amateurish you are and thought, I can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it, it's nice to see. I do enjoy seeing the new channels come.
Oh, definitely. And as I say, it's nice. As I said, if for no other reason, I want to hear their views. I mean, Jeff, you and I yet again discussed this. Jeff was in on probably the same discussion. And Jeff, even I like to hear other people's views on a whiskey that maybe I've already reviewed, and when something meets in the middle there, that's me made up. And it went the other way, that I've said it before, that I won't watch a review of a whiskey. Certainly not close to me reviewing a whiskey, not close to me doing my tasting notes. I'll not watch somebody else's review and then just go straight in and do my own tasting notes.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking months. I'll maybe set that whiskey I'll set before I'll do my notes, and then I'll go back, and I'll still go back, and if Ralphie's reviewed it, and this is how sad I am, if Ralphie's reviewed it and him and I meet on one note, I'm fucking made up. That's me. That's me. It's like, thankfully, at least there's one in there that we've got together on, because, and it's a bit stupid for the simple fact that he's going to taste things that I don't. So it doesn't matter. Just because he says this about a whiskey, just because you say this about a whiskey, doesn't mean I'm going to say the same thing about a whiskey, because we all find different things anyway. I mean, that's something that's just going to repeat and repeat and repeat.
Of course, absolutely. And you've got to remember that how you look at Ralphie, somebody is looking at you like that. Your opinion to someone else means as much as Ralphie's does to you. Do you know what I mean? So they're watching your videos. It's
just another sad goat in a hat.
So when you think about it, you could be helping someone's journey evolve. Maybe they'll end up in YouTube, whatever it is they decide to do. Someone's watching you and you're informing their journey through whiskey, in whichever form that is. You're as important to them as Ralphie is to you, is what I'm trying to say.
As Menno says, so basically what you're doing is pointless, Jim. Menno, yes. If it makes your night better, yes. But no, it's just, I've said it before, say it again, and you actually corrected me, and it's something, or not corrected me, but I said it to you at one point that I wouldn't do it, or never did it for subscribers. I would just do it anyway. But as you said, but it's nice to know that somebody's watching, and that people are taking, and I thought, yeah, he's 100% right there. Like, I mean, that's the thing, it doesn't matter. And I mean, I'm actually sort of now taking I'm thinking of going forward, or moving forward, that I'm going to have to maybe up my game a wee bit to try and keep subscribers coming in, because there's so many people going, just racing up behind, and I'm thinking, oh, shit, I better move up a bit here.
Well, you have a top course.
Well, I mean, it's yet again, I still look every week on a weekly basis, I look to see where everybody's doing it or where everybody's at, and it's like, oh, Jim, come on now, come on, that's not what you were doing this for, you know. But I can't help myself because I'm sort of, especially because I always watch your videos and I maybe don't comment on them. Sometimes I probably don't even like, as in, it's not that it's not that I unlike them, but it's one of those things, you know yourself, YouTube's one of those things nowadays that you're just watching videos so many times. Yeah. Everybody's just watching YouTube that you just forget to click the like button.
I do, mate.
And I'm watching them, and every time I'm just watching them and going, look at the quality of this, the bloody time that's been put into this. And I'm just going, I don't think I physically have the time to do what he's doing here. You know?
That's the thing, I don't have the time. Other things suffer.
But hey,
yeah, it's the way it is, isn't it, mate?
It is. It certainly is.
Anthony, sacrifice.
Yes, this has run over by 15 minutes, usually more so, because I was just enjoying the crack. So,
and it's been a pleasure.
And listen, thank you so much for coming on. It's been too long. It's been too long, and we'll do it again. I don't know whether
how long it would have gone on for if Nick had been out.
Well, that's true. We could have doubled the time, yeah. Right enough. But and as I say, it has been too long. I don't know whether I think I said to you before that it's my intention to do a Christmas special this year again, and if so, I would like to think that and hope that you can make it this year again, because but I might make it a bit more of a personal thing this year rather than so many people in at once, you know.
I like how you're thinking of Christmas already. I mean, that's forward thinking, that is.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's good. Good going. I'll give you that, mate.
Who knows what we have. But you know, as I say, I really appreciate anybody that's in here that hasn't watched New Dram Drinker. Do yourself a favor and go and watch their videos, because they are very, very enjoyable. And I think that is the main. That's a word that describes them very well. Enjoyable, because you go in for the whiskey review and you stay for the crack. You know, that's the way I would describe you, you know, because it's one of those things that very, very early on in every video, it's like, oh, this is incredibly arty. Hold on, these pair. You know, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, these pair are right, laugh, I'll just stay here. You know,
I do appreciate that, my friend. It's nice to hear.
Keep it up.
Thank you,
I know that it takes a lot of time, but please keep it up, and I think everybody else would agree. So listen, we'll call it a day for tonight, and if you hang around, I'll speak to you after we get rid of this lot. And see.
Thank you for having us, mate. We do appreciate it. See, us. I'm just used to saying us now.
I know.
It's like just the two of us, but yeah.
It's just there. It's like a head growing out your shoulder. I'll speak to you in a minute. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for watching. Thank you.
Yes, as I say, it's been too long. And I said to Anthony earlier on that the only reason I've never had either him or him and Nicky on New Dram Drinker on the show before was because I sort of wanted a reason, as in I wanted something very specific to talk about them, and I thought, right, there'll be something will come along, something will come up that'll get Anthony and Nicky on to talk about. Something will come up, and it just never really was coming up. And I just thought, right, I need to get these guys on, because for the simple fact that I just love their company, you know. And thank you all very, very much for joining us tonight. And I think from the chat, from what was going on in here, I think you guys like Anthony's company as well. So thank you all for that. That is very much appreciated. I'm going to leave it at that. There'll be another live in June, as long as untoward happens. And when it's coming up, I'll let you know. So until then, here's your good health. Cheers.